Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome back, or welcome to the official Love 2 podcast, episode 65. My name's Keegan, one half of Love 2 Gamers. Hanging out with Tom, the other half. How you doing, Tom?
I'm feeling the burn of our all-day podcast session at this point. I had to eat some chocolate cake to feel better, so I had a little bit of chocolate cake.
You know, carbs aren't good for you.
I'm fat. It's over anyway. I'm fine with it.
This is our podcast where we kind of pull the curtain back from it. We talk a little bit about what it's like being a YouTuber. We basically just pick topics we want to talk about and go from there. In the middle, we play a game. At this point, it's basically become Name That Game.
Yep.
But I do want to do some housekeeping before we get started. First things first, we have, I'm calling it a soft launch because we're not being like, it's ready to go yet. It's a work in progress, but we have soft launched a website. Right now, if you go to level2gamers.wordpress.com, it'll take you there, but hopefully by the time this goes up, we don't know yet because it's pending approval. Level2gamers.com will redirect you there. The reason being is I was telling you a little bit, I feel like we miss some opportunities when it comes to just talking about little things that don't necessarily need to be in a podcast or things that are more time sensitive of like the topic I'm talking about today would be a good one to have up there with good old Philip and what he's done and kind of the impact of it and have like maybe opinion pieces on things like the stuff like that where I feel like it's not necessarily big enough to have it in the 5 sections of the podcast. Like for me, for Indie Please That Details, I do know more than 5, but they're interesting to talk about. Like when a press release happens, like, oh, this game's launched today. Here's the trailer. Here's this. Don't necessarily want to put that inside of the podcast.
And also like written reviews and stuff as well. Yeah. Because video reviews are super time consuming. They take a lot more effort. And it's not to say that we won't be doing those.
And we already write the reviews when we do a lot of them.
So they'll have the written piece accompanying them, but there are some times when maybe we can't actually get the gameplay footage, or we played it and we never recorded it when we played it, but we still want to talk about
it. Or the gameplay corrupted.
Yeah, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
So we can just write, and also it means we can have contributors too.
Yes, we reached out to a couple friends of ours to see if they want to help out with it, and so far most people have been like hell yes. So I'm working up a thing to make them understand what they need to do when they post an article, all that kind of stuff. But no, this has been something I've wanted to do for a little while, and we talked a little bit when I send it to you. I want to say the website right now is very bare bones. There's no bells and whistles. It's
not at all.
Strictly navigation, and it's just to get it so we get it started.
It's building content.
Yeah, it's to get the platform there to then later on, like, I mean, when we started our channel, we were no bells and whistles. We didn't know what we were doing, and look what it's flourished into with this lovely sidebar and everything else that happens. But yeah, I'm super pumped for it. I'm excited to see because it's something I've wanted to do. It'll help me with writing. It'll help, like I said, keep the content up to date. And from a selfish standpoint, if you're a YouTuber, it gives you a backlink back to your videos, which is very important, which means potentially higher in SEO. That's not the reason we're doing it, but it's a benefit of what we're doing.
Yeah,
it wasn't the primary reason of like, I need to do this so I can have a backlink.
It's a friendly benefit.
Yeah, it's more of like, I want to do this so we can keep up on the news and not feel like we're potentially a few days behind.
Yeah, and in case you don't know what backlinks are, it basically just means that your content is hosted somewhere else and someone is linked back to the original post from it, which just means your SEO goes further because if someone's searching for something on Google, you're more likely to show up.
Yep, because you're on a different place. So that's a little bit of the housekeeping. Again, if you head over to level2gamers.wordpress.com, hopefully level2gamers.com will take you there as well. If it doesn't, I've got some work to do to figure out why. But I've officially started the process of moving everything over. The note says in the back end that by the 17th, it should be. Just to FYI, today's the 14th as of recording. A little behind the scenes.
We'll find out.
We record on Tuesday, so we'll find out here whether it worked or not.
Surprise.
But let's move into Keegan's Corner, my topic, because this has been a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a little bit because it's blown up. And I'm sure you have heard a lot of people say things about this. I've watched a lot of videos on people's opinions, and I just kind of wanted to give my thought, and obviously you can chime in with your thoughts on it. But let's start with the main article is going to be from Kotaku, because Jason Schreier, I love Jason Schreier's work. He was one who's kind of took it on and said, hey, this is
basically in a full-on war with this guy right now.
Yes. Yeah. So the former IGN reviewer, Philip News.
Even.
Yeah. Well, reviewer, he reviewed this game.
Yeah.
Former IGN reviewer, Philip Mewson was accused of plagiarizing a Dead Cells review from a YouTube channel called Boomstick Gaming. Boomstick Gaming at the time had about 12,000 subscribers, so smaller channel. I think Philip didn't think he was going to get caught, but I'm going to read the original post, and then kind of there's been updates since. So let me get to where the original post happened here.
Can you imagine being that guy, that Boomstick guy, and watching the IGN review and just being like,
oh, that's why he made a video. That's where it came from.
It must feel really weird.
Where is... I got to find where the original...
Well, while you're looking, yeah, I mean, as a reviewer myself, I'm always kind of cognizant of what I'm saying and how I'm placing words together and stuff. It is true that there's only so many ways to say something about a game. Like, a lot of people say the graphics are good, or is pretty, or is aesthetically pleasing, or whatever. But the thing that kind of separates out a lot of these reviewer websites is like how flowery their language gets and how big their metaphors get and that kind of stuff. So like the fact that this was largely almost word for word on a lot of points, he would just like tweak something here and there, but like you could tell
it was the flow, the creation of it. Like people have, and one of the things that that a few of the bigger guys have come out, it's you're going to have reviews that sound similar in certain instances because it's a roguelike RPG that has this element. Like, it's going to happen. But the flow, the structure was very similar. So here's kind of the original. Like, the original story is as follows, but this is after Philip had released his video. This is, quote, from Philip. Quote, "The bottom line is what happened with the Dead Cells review was not at all intentional," end quote, he said. Quote, With that said, I just want to apologize to everybody at IGN for all the undeserved criticisms and doubt that may have been sparked in the credibility as a respected source of games media, end quote. So here's the story. On Tuesday night, a small YouTuber named Boomstick Gaming published a video with the title, quote, "IGN copied my Dead Cells review, what do I do?" end quote. In it, he laid out a compelling case that the official IGN review of Dead Cells was written by Mewson, was a rewritten version of his own review, which had been published several days earlier. On Wednesday, IGN investigated, and the outlet fired Mewson that evening. Mewson had not publicly responded until last night's video. In it, he also apologized to Motion Twin and the maker of Dead Cells. He did not apologize to the YouTuber Boomstick Gaming.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But he said that he has nothing but the best wishes for him and offered him advice for the future. He added that people have been sending nasty messages, not just to him, but to his family members on social media accounts. The video has not been well received and is currently sitting around 1,700 upvotes and 8,300 downvotes. Mewson also mentioned Kotaku's reporting of the story, naming me, Jason Schreier specifically. On Wednesday night, we learned that before he was hired at IGN, Mewson had put out a video for a review of FIFA 18 on Switch, which was full of striking similarities to Nintendo's review published a few days earlier. Quote, "You can keep looking, Kotaku, and please let me know if you find anything," end quote, Mewson said in last night's video, which, by the way, their news editor, Jason Schreier, tried to imply that my FIFA 18 review was also inauthentic by claiming that I copied it from Nintendo Life, and that's just not the case. Maybe he's implying that if you have similarly opinionated reviews, then you're just plagiarizing. Or maybe he's just trying to get as many clicks off my name now as possible. Or maybe he just likes kicking people when they're down. I don't know. Check it out for yourselves and you can be the judge, end quote. So this is the Nintendo Life review. This is the FIFA 18 one. This is Nintendo Life section. It actually works well. As long as you aren't a stickler for intricate animation detail, you're going to have fun here. It runs smoother than the greased-up Jazz Musician 2, with a full 60 frames per second in both docked and handheld mode, making a silky performance and the general feel that you're playing a high-quality product. Although the slightly less silky smooth, cutscenes and other up-close movements reveal the character models are good less detailed than their Xbox and PS4 counterparts, squint a bit during the gameplay and you'd generally struggle to see the difference. Mewson's review. But when you're playing the game, it actually works really well, and it's easy to look past the graphical setbacks. Because whether you're playing in docked or undocked, the game seems to run a consistent 60 frames per second, which looks silky smooth and really leaves you feeling like you're having a AAA home console experience, but it's a console you take with you on the go. However, when you get up close and look at some of the character models, it's pretty clear they have a good amount less detail than the Xbox One and PS4 versions do, but any imperfections are pretty much unnoticed during gameplay. Chris Scullion, the freelance reviewer who wrote the Nintendo Life review, said on Twitter, quote, "I can't believe you're actually suggesting that you didn't plagiarize my FIFA 18 review for Nintendo Life and claiming that the plagiarizing Dead Cells wasn't intentional. You have completely failed to accept and understand what you've done." I highly recommend people go look at the Boomstick Gaming review or video and review of it, because it's very, very scary how similar it looks. Musin had an apology video. He has since taken it down. It is no longer public. So update number 1, the video is no longer public on Musin's channel. And then there's also been other allegations that have come out around it. The thing that got me the most, and plagiarism in a journalistic realm is probably the worst thing you can do, because I've always told you, once you lose your credibility, you have nothing when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Try doing it as a rapper. It's worse there.
I'm sure.
Get shot or something.
So I have to, there's a couple things I want to talk about in this. One, I want to praise both Boomstick, because he was upset about it. Obviously, I would be too.
And really, as a person with 12,000 subscribers, I mean, we are fucking way less than that. But as a person with 12,000 subscribers going against IGN, what do? I think he handled it perfectly.
That's literally, he's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
But his thing was he wanted monetary for his review. He felt it was fair, and I think that's fair. Nothing's come of it. I don't know if he's talked to IGN separately or whatever it may be. So shout out to him. Also, as a benefactor of all this, he's now like tripled in size.
That's kind of nice.
So that's
good for him.
Yeah, his reviews are really good. Like, I've watched a couple of his other ones, and they're really good. So I highly recommend checking out Boomstick.
Good enough for IGN to take, apparently. So.
Yeah. Well, for Philip to take.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about is I think IGN handled this the best way they could. So IGN, once the video came out, IGN did an investigation that night, and by the next morning, the news broke that Philip Musin was no longer at IGN. Funnily enough, if you look at Philip's Twitter account, the day before or 2 days before the review comes out, he said, "I'm doing my first review for IGN on Dead Cells. I'm super excited." And then as you could probably guess, the comments on that after this all broke was quite entertaining.
Hilarious. Yeah.
So shout out to IGN. And IGN's had a lot of controversy recently. They've had a lot
of controversy since their inception.
But,
let's be honest.
But they've had a lot of people leave because of sexual misconduct with the Cali Plague Vincent Janito thing.
Accusations of receiving money for reviews.
Well, those have never been proven.
Accusations.
Yeah, but those have never been proven.
No,
versus anything else here.
It's still a controversy whether it's proven or not.
Yes, but versus everything else here, they've come out and said.
Agreed. Yeah.
So you had that, and then you had the Steve Butt situation where sexual harassment or sexual misconduct was happening, and he didn't really take the steps needed to be. Marty Sleva has been released under shady circumstances. Nobody really knows why. Nobody's saying why, but there's assumptions that is going on there. Obviously, if nobody's talking, something happened. And then this. But IGN, it really sucks, because IGN, obviously, they have a job to do after this review comes out, is release more reviews, more content. And every review they released at that point is this real? Who'd you steal this from? And you're always going to have that with a big publication. They're always going to get shit. There's always people that just want to tear IGN down. But it's really, really good. I was watching Tech Review USA or whatever that guy's name is. And he basically said, there's two things on this. He goes, IGN probably had no idea until Boomstick came out and said, because Philip was the one who did the review. IGN as a corporation probably had no idea.
I doubt they necessarily watch all of their buddies' reviews all the time. I know some of them do, but I doubt
well,
they got their own problems.
Even if they watched the review, they wouldn't know.
He wouldn't know Boomstick.
He wouldn't know he copied it from somebody else. So leave IGN out of this. IGN did the best they could with what's going on. And the second thing, and I agree with too, is the only thing Philip said in his apology video that I agree with is you should not threaten his family members. They have nothing to do with this.
I didn't know that.
So there were threats going on to his family. He said leave them alone. That's about the only thing in his
just gamer
quote
kids,
apology video.
I think it's just some bullshit.
But it doesn't matter if you get death threats to a family member because of a review you did.
I agree.
I think he deserves all the backlash he's getting.
I deserve that with that statement wholeheartedly. What I'm saying is, though, you got 14-year-olds saying that shit.
You say that, but you don't know. I
don't think anyone genuinely wants to hurt this guy's family over a fucking blitzed review.
You don't know. Yeah. I mean, there's people who shoot up crowds of people. There's crazy people that aren't 14 years old.
I won't deny that.
And I also think your opinion that all gamers are 14 is wrong now, because those gamers have grown up.
No, I said the gamers that were saying they were going to hurt his family were 14 years old.
I doubt it.
Or Boomstick's family. Or Boomstick's family.
No, I doubt it. The other thing that broke this morning as of recording, Jason Schreier got the username Joseph39151 tweeted at Jason Schreier. In his video about Switch's HD Rumble, Philip Mewson copied user Cartho word for word from a post on NeoGAF forum thread. The video's here. They have a link. The thread is here. And then we can post it. And Jason's response was, let me get back to it. Over the past few days, I've gotten a bunch of tips like this about dozens of his videos copying from video game sites, forums, and even Wikipedia. It's unbelievable.
I saw, didn't he have one that was like Metroid as well?
Yep, there's a third one that came out.
That one.
So, and to Jason Schreier's credit, one of the things I want to say is I don't think he's trying to tear down Philip. I think he's just reporting the news. Philip attacked him and said, hey, find more. And he's like, here you go.
Yeah, find more.
But what I really like is Dustin Can Fly asked a follow-up on the post that Jason put this morning saying, is there a follow-up story coming? And what Jason's response was, I don't know. I wish I could get him on the phone with me and answer my questions. And then somebody said, well, what's there to answer? The dude is a thief, end of story. Jason's response was, one of the reasons I became a journalist is that I kind of have a burning curiosity about a lot of things. I love asking people questions and trying to understand what they're thinking, and I really, really, really want to know what Philip Mewson was thinking. And that's fair, because, like, I don't think Jason Schreier did anything wrong. I think Philip Mewson did a lot of things wrong. But I also, like, plagiarism is one of those things where, especially in the journalism world, is a big deal. And that's, I don't think Philip will ever get a job in journalism ever again, especially with how much has now come out. Yeah, he's basically shot himself in the foot with that. And then the other question is, he has a YouTube channel, so he's going back to YouTube. He'll probably not be credible there anymore, because it's like, well, and will developers give him keys and all this? Like, there's a whole
other thing
snowball
that kind
effect.
of bends my mind about it is, like, you just got a job doing a review for IGN,
which is arguably the biggest video game company in the world.
What the fuck would possess you to be such an idiot?
So my thought, because he says there's lots of circumstances, my thought, and this has been brought out from other people who have left IGN, he was overworked. He didn't have time to finish the review. I'm thinking what's happened. So his mindset was, hey, if I take this small YouTuber, nobody's going to notice.
Wasn't it his first review, though?
It was his first review with IGN, but he's doing other stuff. He used to run Nintendo voice chat. He used to write articles. Like, he did more than just reviews. He wasn't just a reviewer.
Gotcha.
He was a content creator. Fun fact, I actually interviewed for his job. I didn't make it, obviously. He did. But maybe the position's open. IGN, do you want to call me back again? But, like, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I get that. I think what he should have done, two things I think Philip should have done. One, he should have gone to his boss at IGN and said, hey, I can't get this done. I can't, there's no way I'm going to get this done and make it good on embargo date. The second thing is, when he got fucking caught, he should have said, I fucked up. I'm sorry.
That's right, yeah.
Like, he deflected, he played victim, and it just drove, the dislike bar was 8,300, what is it, 1,700 or whatever? Like,
yeah.
It's dumb.
And then even daring people to find more when you damn well know there's more. You know what I mean? Like,
and not apologizing to Boomstick. Like, there's just so much here that, like,
he handled that completely ass backwards.
Yes. I feel like and the other thing that people got, did you actually watch the video?
No.
Before it went down? So he started the video by doing one of these. And he ended the video with one of these.
Oh, the slow-mo, turn off the camera.
Yep.
Fuck off.
So that to me, like, immediately that sigh was very insincere. It felt very scripted.
It's acting.
Yeah. So
Same thing people like PewDiePie and whatever do whenever they get caught doing some dumb shit. It's like,
well, I think
I'm so sorry, you guys.
But I think there's a difference, because I think everybody who does something like that, there are people who have genuine remorse. Like, mistakes happen. People screw up. And if this had come out and it would have been I still think he should have lost his job. I think IGN, again, handled this the best they could. He should have lost his job. But I think the backlash would not have been as severe if he'd come out and said, I'm sorry, I screwed up. Here, he says in the video, I'll tell you my part of the story. His part of the story is there's, quote, a lot of circumstances going on at the time, end quote. Like, what are those circumstances? Tell us your story. And I don't know if he's under any sort of NDA from IGN or not, but I doubt it.
I'd like to give the guy the benefit of the doubt and say that he was overworked or something, but honestly, I still don't think that's an excuse. Like you said, I think it's something where he should have talked to somebody.
He should have told somebody at IGN.
you know, they should have handed, because there was probably a lot of people that were playing that game that could have reviewed it at least like partially.
Well, what's funny is they then, IGN, to their credit, took the review down, had a note up saying, hey, this is what's happened, we're taking this down. They then had, I think, like 24 or 48 hours later, they call it Dead Cells Review V2, where they had, I think Brandon Tyrell did, I can't remember who it was, but somebody else did one. And everybody in the office like liked the game, but Brandon, or I want to say it's Brandon, may not be Brandon, I'm sorry if it's not you, did the review, and it was up, and it was so good, and it was like and it sucks because nobody's going to watch that review because it's like, well. But at the same time,
to be honest, though, the whole drama probably put more attention to the game as well. So it kind of works in the indie developer's favor because everyone's going to be
it's already a great Dead Cells review. It's already a great game.
Gonna watch it.
It's already a great game.
But not everyone knows that. It's an indie game. It doesn't get as much press as the other stuff. So there's probably been like a by proxy surge in sales just from people watching these fucking reviews and comparing them because it did get such a high score.
So let's see what the Metacritic is. 92 for Switch, 90 for PC.
Oh yeah, I bought it for Switch. I haven't played it yet, but
and 88 for PS4 as of right now.
It's only a $20 game too, 25 maybe.
So like I said, I know a lot of people have covered this, and I just feel like
I know you like talking about controversies.
Well, no, it's just more. It's more. I would love to know what he's thinking. Like I really hope so. Jason Schreier's reached out to him and said, "Hey, I would love to talk to you," and I think he should. Or Colin Moriarty, who's another guy who had a very controversial exit from a very prominent gaming outlet. Yeah. And Kind of Funny have all reached out to him saying, hey, we'll fly you out here to talk to you. We just want to hear why. Tell us your story. And I don't know if it's... Part of me thinks Philip is very much the if I leave it alone, it'll go away mentality or what, but it's not going to go away. This is one of those things. This is a massive screw up.
It was. I saw some other comments on it that I thought were interesting. That a lot of people said that when they hired this guy to do the review, that they didn't hire him necessarily upon his body of work, but more so based upon his personality type and his on-screen camera presence.
Yeah, he was a YouTuber.
So like this guy YouTubes. But this guy already has a level of charisma, obviously enough to do what he's doing already. And I think that a lot of people were kind of thinking that maybe like the fact that he was just this kind of hollow shell of a person, like just a bro personality that didn't actually have the mental capacity to put together his own, solid review on, apparently pretty much anything he's ever done, but specifically like a bunch of other stuff. So that's why I'm kind of even more inclined to believe that it wasn't like, if it was a rush thing, then he wouldn't have done it on the last, like the other stuff, because he wasn't rushing for
that's those. The thing that...
So it's obviously it's a habit, it's a pattern, and it's something that it's so hard to give him any leeway on because there's literally no excuse.
And like you said, the benefit of the doubt goes away when 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 come out.
Exactly. And you were fucking testing people on it too. So you're a fucking idiot to begin with by saying, hey, try and find more. Well, guess what? They did.
The internet will always find out.
Yeah, don't ever challenge the internet at anything like that. But also, props to Jason Schreier for being like, all right. And then
and it was
taking it to his natural conclusion.
I tweeted Jason Schreier, and he's not responded because obviously we're teeny tiny compared to him. But I tweeted Jason Schreier because I love him as a writer. He's caused a lot of controversy. He wants the gaming industry to unionize. He has released stuff before it should be because he has sources. Like he's one of those guys that he's probably been on a few blacklists at times. But he's like, I don't care. My job is to report the news. I don't care what the developers really think of me because if I was here to kiss their ass, like this is not a direct quote. This is me how I kind of view him. But like if I'm here to kiss their ass, like I will never get anything done.
Yeah.
And like. To be a good games journalist, you've got to dig. You've got to find those stories. You've got to
be integral.
Yeah, you have to. But everything he's released has always been true. So it's like if he came out and said there's sexual harassment allegations at IGN, turns out those were false and just somebody complaining or whatever, maybe that hurts his credibility. So he doesn't post anything unless he knows it's true, and he has good sources, obviously, to do this. So Jason Schreier, if anybody's interested in like journalism,
I thought you were going to say Jason Schreier if you're hiring.
No, he works at Kotaku.
Yeah.
But Kotaku doesn't necessarily have the greatest name in the industry either when it comes to
none of them do.
Practices.
They all have dodgy stuff. That's why you should all go to level2gamers.wordpress.com and hear from an indie outlet that doesn't give a fuck. but we'll tell you the truth.
Do you believe that?
What? That we don't give a fuck? I mean, I'll tell it truthfully for the most part. Yeah. I mean, like if we're given a game or information or something that I think is bad, I mean, shit, you've panned the crap out of at least Project Cars 2, 100-Foot Robot Golf.
I don't
probably think of a lot more, but yeah, I think so. I think people should join us.
The other thing I will say with that, like, I feel like if every games media is like, oh my god, this is great. This is weird. The other thing that blew my mind about the Philip Mewson review, going back to the core of all this, is he came out and said he did what every other reviewer did. He researched his topic in various different ways, not just playing the game, but that means he looked at reviews, which, how do you look at reviews to get your own critical ideas? It's really fun. Like when I did, was it Yonder? I can't remember what review I did, but I did a review, and in your head, you're like, I wonder if everybody else thinks the same way I do about this. Like, is the game as good as I think it is?
It's a concern. Yeah, it's definitely a concern.
And I put it out, and then you see the reviews coming through, like, oh, everybody agreed with me. Cool. Yeah. Or you'll put it out, and like, people didn't necessarily agree with this aspect of it. And it's really cool to see that aspect. But if you're watching somebody's review, they're forming in some way, shape, or form your view of the game. If I watch Jacksepticeye play a game and he's having fun, I'm more than likely going to agree that the game is fun. Yeah. If I watch a review on somebody who says, fuck, what was there was an IGN review that, like, was it Prey that got a 5 because the game was broken or whatever? Like, the game had game-breaking bugs. So the review, it was Dan Stapleton did the review, and he got panned for it, which deservedly so. But also in his defense, the game was broken, so he played with what he had. They did the re-review and the day one patch went up, and it was a little bit better. But it was just one of those moments of like, if I read that review, I'd have a different mentality going into Prey if I then reviewed it after the fact.
And you know, the whole kind of weird thing about reviews in general is that it's literally just one person's opinion. So
doesn't matter if it's like, it's funny
if
though.
I review a game and you review a game, very different outcomes coming out of that for the most part. I mean, sometimes we agree.
Well, I mean, you're going to agree on certain aspects of it, but like
there's some fundamental facts about the quality of graffics,
quality graphics, controls, how tight they are. But the opinion part where you're like, is this game worth your money? And I think and we talk about it all the time. Like we were talking about with what was the game on Codename? It was on Codename where we like, was it Codename? The $40 game where we're like, is it worth it? You said yes. I said probably not. There's a
State of Mind we talked about.
That was it.
Yeah,
that was it. And I was like, I don't know if that's worth it. And you're like, well, everything I've seen says it is, but doesn't mean it is.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes in. Is also, and you learn to see who your reviews line up with. Like for me, if IGN, if Damon Hatfield does one, or like if Dan Stapleton does one, I don't watch it because I don't agree with half the stuff he says. But when Marty Sleva was there, I agreed with what he said. Or if
you just find similar
like
personalities.
Like Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny. Me and Tim are I call us the fun reviewers. We review based on fun, not necessarily fact. So if we had fun playing the game, it's probably going to get a higher score than.
I review based off different things dependent on the platform I'm on as well, because I'll review something a lot more fun-based in VR and immersion-based than I'm going to with a PS4 or a Switch review. And the Switch review might have like, does it work well mobile versus PlayStation? We shouldn't have to worry about mobile, so it's kind of like that factors into it as well. But yeah, I mean, it sucks, man. Plagiarism sucks in every aspect and every
Philip
form.
Mewson, you were a dumb man for multiple reasons. I mean, the core of what I think he did wrong, obviously plagiarizing is he started there. He screwed up there.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that. But where I think he really is getting the backlash now is his inapology.
His inapology.
Yeah. He was not apologetic at all. And I feel like he apologized to IGN and he apologized to Motion Twin. He did not apologize to Boomstick, and he called out Jason Schreier. And you don't call out Jason Schreier. Like, that dude will find. He has sources. His DMs are open on Twitter. And people just send him stuff. He's one of the few games journalists that still do that because he's like, I don't know who's got information.
Yeah.
So but he then verifies it to make sure it's legit and all this kind of stuff. So he, like I said, I'm a huge Schreier fan and I have been for a few years. And there's a few other game journalists that I felt like Brian Altano I love because he's doofy.
I like Brian Altano.
He's one of the few IGN guys that are still there.
The guy as well.
I don't like him when he plays Destiny though.
No,
He's a bit of a.
he's biased.
He's a bit of yeah. He's very much a fanboy.
I think it's just because it's almost his name.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, I would love to know what you guys think of the Philip Mewsome situation. I feel like it's pretty much the same. Everybody thinks he's a dumbass for doing this, but do you think he's going to have a job in the future of journalism? Like, what do you think what's going to happen with him? Do you think this will eventually blow over and people will forget?
He'll be hosting the Ubisoft conference at E3 next year.
Yeah. No, that'll be what's her face. She does it every year. Taylor.
They used to have like the shittiest people doing it. It was a joke. It's bad.
Yeah. No, he'll be.
But saying that though, Dr. Disrespect came out, cheated on his wife or whatever it was.
Nope.
That dude's still doing
It blew
fine.
over. But you know what the difference was? He came out and said, "I fucked up."
He was honest about it. Yeah.
So that's the big. That's if you look at anything that happens, if people come out and they admit fault.
And that was also like a personal fault, not a not a fault of the job he's trying to do.
Yes.
So yeah, agreed.
But it also attacks his character, and people go to him because of his character. Yeah. So it does.
And his character
impact.
is Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, but anyways, let's move in to Name That Game right after this. Welcome back to Name That Game, where I pick a game this week because it's my turn. As I found out before we started recording this episode, that Tom has to pick, Tom doesn't have to pick. Tom asked me questions.
To guess it.
They are closed questions, which basically has a direct answer being yes, no. Is this red? Yes. Or is the main character a human? Yes. Like things like that. The only question you cannot ask is what genre is it?
Do you know what I found myself doing the other day?
What'd you do?
I said yes, no, maybe so to somebody at work. And then I was like, fuck, I'm turning into Keegan. That's awful. Because you say
great.
that all the time. And I was like, God damn, where'd that come from? I was like, oh no, Keegan.
You hung out with me. So I have my game picked.
All right.
You didn't see it when I opened the screen up, did you?
No,
Cool.
I'm like, I can barely keep my eyes open.
Cool. So, question number 1.
I forget what my starting question always is. I'm not allowed to ask what genre it is, right?
Nope.
Fuck, what's my usual starting question? It's been so long, I've forgotten. Oh yeah, what platform did it come out on first?
First was Xbox 360.
Fuck. All right.
Oh, this is significantly first on Xbox 360. I didn't realize that.
What? Can you give me? I can't. Can I ask for a list of the other platforms? Since you said there's more.
Yeah. So Xbox 360, iPod, iPhone.
Wait, what? iPod?
Xbox 360.
Okay.
iPod, iOS, PS3, PSP, Wii, Xbox One, PS4, Windows, and Switch.
Fuck my life. So everything ever is what you're saying.
Everything 360 on, pretty much.
Everything ever.
I mean, think about it. In the Xbox 360, it was.
Why would it start there and then go to phone?
Because it wasn't.
That's a plot twist, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
the opposite of today. Question number 3.
God damn.
Did that help you at all?
No. Well, maybe because the PSP has a limited catalog, so that helps a little bit.
I was like, it was PSP.
What is the main protagonist? If there is a main protagonist.
There really isn't. I'm gonna say there's not one.
Okay.
I would say you would be the main protagonist if I had to like answer that, but it's really not one.
You as the player.
Yeah, like you don't know who you are, but you. If that makes sense.
Okay. What perspective is it? Isometric, third person, first person. That's not genre. That's perspective.
Yeah, I would say isometric. If I had to take a guess, isometric / top down because it's like a combo of the two.
Now we're getting somewhere. Isometric / top down.
Yeah, I don't know what you technically would call it because I don't know if it's quite at an angle, but it's not quite top. It's like it's an in between.
But it's not third person.
It's not third person.
Okay. Are there vehicles in the game, and if so, what are they?
No.
That shuts that thing. Question down for us. Is it a sporting game?
No.
Those are the ones that usually make it onto every fucking
Yeah.
God damn. Is it a puzzle game?
No. I almost picked Snake, though.
Pong.
I almost picked Snake at one point.
The fact it started on the 360 is the thing that's throwing me off. Okay, what is the name of the developer?
For which version? Because they had multiple developers.
Let's
work
do
on
the Xbox 360 version.
it. Carbonated Games.
And what is the name of the publisher on the Xbox 360 version?
Microsoft Game Studio. Which doesn't mean shit because Microsoft published a lot of shit on the 360.
Yep, it sure did. What is my objective in the game?
I don't know if I can answer that because it'll pretty much give it away.
I said build a farm for Stardew. You can be vague with it.
Yeah.
Be vague.
Your objective is to get rid of everything in your inventory.
Get rid of everything in your inventory.
Mm-hmm. You're going to think hard about that one now. I was trying to think how could I make it still a good answer, but not.
Everything in your inventory.
Everything in your
It's like a flashback. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Game flies up here.
God damn. Get rid of everything in your inventory.
Do you like that answer?
Well, my next question would be what's in my inventory, but I don't know if that's too much. Give me an example of one thing in my inventory. Is that a fair question?
No, because I'll tell you this. Everything in your inventory is the same thing.
Ah, okay.
How's that for an answer?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. How many questions do I have?
You're on question 13.
So there's not a protagonist, which I assume means there's not a antagonist.
That is, I mean, it's a gray area, but yeah, as you would define them, like for traditional games, yeah.
Where is this game taking place?
It has various settings. I'm gonna try and give you the best answer I can.
Please do.
I would say like an online chat room would be the best setting for it.
What the actual fuck game is this? Okay, so to summarize so far, no protagonist, no antagonist in a traditional sense.
In a traditional sense. It'll make sense when I explain why.
Isometric.
Potentially top-down, depending on how you...
Top-down. It's not a puzzle game.
So I think it's more top-down.
Not a sports game.
Correct.
You have to get rid of everything in your inventory.
Mm-hmm. And everything in your inventory
on a chat room.
Is the same thing.
And everything in your inventory is the same thing on a chat room.
Yes.
And it started on the 360.
Started on launch first on 360.
Published by Microsoft, and the developer was who again?
Carbonated Games developed the game. Microsoft Game Studios published the game on the Xbox 360.
Has there been any sequels to the game since it released?
There's not been sequels per se, but there have been expansions upon this.
Upon the original one?
Mm-hmm. The game hasn't really changed at its core. That's what I'll say.
So
like it's not 2, 3 of something. It's the same game, but it's added stuff to it.
So not like a side game like Final Fantasy Dissidia.
No.
But like just like expansions on the original thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've remade it for the different platforms because a 360 game can't run on a PSP. But
how best would you describe the graphics in terms of style?
I would say realistic with a little bit of cartoony in there. So it's going for realism,
opposite thing.
But it's going for realism, but it's got a cartoon twinge to it, which matches what you know about this game. So
you so much right now.
Well, because it's got an art style, but the art style is not 100% realistic, but it's not 100% cartoony. It's going for realism, but it's very colorful. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Okay.
That's
hyper real.
Kind of.
Okay.
It's oversaturated is the best way to say it. So it's realistic looking, but there's lots of bright colors going on.
Would this be considered to be a popular game?
Yes.
Well, I imagine so if it's on so many platforms. But... Fuck, man. How many questions am I at?
You're at 17.
Shit.
I'll wait till you get later on, but I'll give you a hint. Let's just say you were asking genres and you have not narrowed down the genre at all. That'll help you a lot.
Well, I was thinking it might be like a puzzle game in terms of like a card game or something. I don't know if that's considered a puzzle game.
I wouldn't.
Is it a card game?
Yes.
You motherfucker.
Because not all card games are puzzle games, and not all puzzle games are card games.
I always consider I guess, no, you're right. I'll give you that. To get rid of everything.
Yep.
Is
18.
it Uno?
Yes, it is.
Fucking yes.
You ready for this? Uno is a video game adaptation of the card game of the same name. It was released for a number of platforms. The Xbox 360 version by Carbonated Games and Microsoft Studios released on May 9th, 2006 as digital download via Xbox Live Arcade. A version for iPhone OS was released in 2008 by Gameloft. Gameloft released the PlayStation 3 version on October 1st, 2009. Also released the WiiWare and DSiWare and PlayStation Portable. An updated version developed by Ubisoft was released on Xbox One, PS4 in August 2016 with a Microsoft Windows version to follow later that year. At the end of 2017, Uno was ported to Nintendo Switch.
Cool.
So that's where I'm like, when you're like chat room, it's like that's the best thing because it's not a casino because it's not a gambling game. So it's
it's like family game night, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know really what to say.
You should have said like.
I was gonna say like a cart or like a coffee table,
In real,
but then
yeah,
I was
like in real life that the family.
But it's not. It's just like a red background. Like the image on here. I mean, it's just a.
Yeah.
Like you're not really anywhere.
Well, you could say that too, as well. It's
yeah.
just a backdrop. There's not really anything going on.
But do my answers make sense now? Where it's like you gotta get rid of everything in inventory.
Not at the time. They do now. All right.
Yeah, I don't consider card games puzzle games because they're not mutually.
That was what confused because the reason I said puzzle was I was trying to rule out games like Uno and Monopoly and things like that. But I guess they're not really puzzle games. So that's my bad vocalization.
And that's where I was
got there in the end.
That's where I was like, okay, let me help him out here.
I appreciate
when he said that.
Thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
All right.
It's funny because we were talking about it. I was like, I'm gonna pick this. That's why I was like, did you see it? Because I scrolled through and I had the logo flash up. Because
no, like when I looked, I was just kind of like daydreaming over here, but I saw like more like that. So I was like, I don't fucking know.
I was like, because I scrolled and that popped up. I was like, oh shit.
Anyway.
Yeah, when you're like, can you tell me what's in my inventory? I'm like, I want to be like, a card?
That would have been nice. That's Name That Game. Hopefully you were playing along at home and hopefully you figured it out way before I did.
I was hoping you were going to ask what the expansions were.
What would you have said?
I would have said their themes.
I still wouldn't have known. It wouldn't have helped.
Yeah.
But thanks for asking. Up next, we have Tom's Tales, where I talk about Pixelpop Fest 2018. See you then. Welcome back to Tom's Tales, and this week I want to talk about something that was the reason why we weren't here last week, and the week before, and the week before, and the week before, and the week before, however long it is that we've been away. And that is that we were the guardians of the video media and the galaxy for Pixelpop Fest
2018.
2018, St. Louis.
I feel like I need to slide it. I'm sliding it. I'm getting closer to you.
It's a little shiny, maybe. But Pixelpop is a very popular indie game developer festival in St. Louis that has been hosted now for a couple of years. And
I think 4 or 5.
Bigger and bigger every time.
I want to say 5.
Something close.
Something like that.
This
is our second year?
Yeah, so second year attending. First year is the video partners. But it was on July 28th, 29th this year at the St. Louis University, the Bush Student Center, which is its home.
We did kind of cover it last year. It was like not officially.
Yeah,
But
it
that's
was guerrilla
kind of
style.
why they asked us, though.
Yeah.
It's because of that.
So the tagline for Pixelpop, if you're unaware of what it is celebrating unique games and the people who make them possible, which I think is kind of something they've grown into.
It is so true.
Started out as more of a sort of just a developer-based thing, but it's actually grown out of, well, not out of, but kind of like grown bigger in scope as far as the fact that there are, of course, plenty of video games there to play, but also there's a lot of unique
weird
alternative
things.
controller projects. There's a lot of tabletop games.
That fucking sashimi dead fish game was weird.
Yeah, we'll get into it. So
That's
yeah.
what it's called.
So like I said, we were the partners this year. The other partners were Lewis Rice and Video were on there.
St. Louis University is the big one because there's their space.
Happy Badger Studio, Unreal Engine. So we're pretty proud to have our little name. You probably can't see it, but up in the bottom corner there, as a part of the festival. And one of the kind of the really cool things that I liked specifically about the festival is the way that they have like this kind of code of conduct that's right inside here.
Which is true not just for the festival, but it's true for the St. Louis Developer Co-op they
It's
have.
such a safe space. It really is, especially because you're putting your heart and soul out there when you make a
Nobody
video
likes
game.
things that you've worked on to be criticized.
Yeah, and even they definitely want to hear your constructive criticism.
yes, but
Developers
not just,
love
"This
that,
sucks."
but not just this sucks because you didn't do ABC. So I want to read this to you a little bit. Pixelpop Festival exposes players and creators to a supportive creative culture that celebrates diversity of games and creators. Programs at Pixelpop Festival will encourage you to think progressively, have confidence, and push yourself to contribute to the game industry in a positive way. Be respectful. We care deeply about safety and comfort of our community, and therefore have a strict code of conduct that we adhere to, that require everyone at Pixelpop to adhere to. Please review the Pixelpop Festival event policies and code of conduct banners at the front of the ballrooms or online at pixelpopfestival.com, and make sure that your words and behavior exhibit kindness, respect, and inclusivity. Which reminds me, when we got there, it was kind of surprising to me that they had...
I didn't even know there was a map in there.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here.
Yeah.
They had little
Also, shout out to our friend Maggie for
yeah, she printed those.
for printing those and folding every single one by hand, all 500 of them.
Oh god.
Yeah. She texted me the day she was doing it.
So right on the table when you first go in and you get your tickets and whatnot, there is a little sticker that you can choose that has like preferred pronoun, which I just thought was like, okay, we're getting into hella like progressive liberal territory here, but it was cool to see that kind of inclusive stuff. And that's what they're talking about in here, is that you shouldn't be afraid to be who you want to be, and you're still, a valid part of this community, which at times can be grating towards those that might be considered different. So that was kind of cool because they had like a he or a she or a they or a them, or like, and then you could just put the sticker on so that when we came up to you to talk to you, then we know what your preferred pronoun is, which I thought was really cool. The festival in general, though, definitely celebrates uniqueness, and uniqueness is the name of the game for a lot of things that are there.
No pun intended.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about some of the people that were there before we get into like panels and things like that. So, I mean, there was a lot. There was a lot of shit.
Can we talk about who runs it first of all? Because
Sure.
shout out to both Carol.
Mary McKenzie and Carol Mertz.
Yep. So Carol Mertz is a big part of the St. Louis scene. We didn't interview her this year, but we interviewed her last year about it. And she's actually at NYU going to school.
She
and
came all the way home.
She came home to do that, to continue going. But Mary did a lot of the stuff locally while Carol was in New York.
Mary is
from
also,
Volcano Bean.
Yeah, she works with Volcano Bean, who are currently producing a game called Battle Cakes.
So, but shout out to them because this event basically runs because of them. Like they are the one who does the budget. They bring everybody in. Like
awesome ladies.
We had an interview, a meeting with them before the festival because when they talked about kind of what we needed, which was very helpful the day of. It's like, okay, cool. We just get there and we run. And literally just run the camera.
Yeah, they hooked us up with the AV people and everything. So it basically went as smooth as it possibly could for us. And they had a couple quirks, I think, at the beginning of day one. They said, but they smoothed it out.
Yeah,
and it was pretty good.
I don't know, which is good because I don't know what they were. Considering
I think it was power problems. I think it was some of the power outlets weren't working. That's what I gathered anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Carol Mertz and Mary McKenzie, and I'm sure there's a bigger team than that behind them, but those are the two that we mostly deal with, and we know for a fact that they put in a hella ton of work in what they do. And of course, all the bountiful developers that traveled from near and far. It's a St. Louis based festival, but that does not mean that all the developers are from St. Louis. Obviously, we have a big showing there because it's our festival. But there were people from all over the damn place. There was a guy from London. There's a German guy from London that came here, Robin Baumgarten, who was actually the developer of a very, very now infamous 1D dungeon crawler called Line Wobbler, which has been shown at everything from Gamescom to like...
It was at King's Cross Station.
King's Cross Station on a Christmas tree, which is basically a very unique project where he has this one strip of LED lights, and you have like this green light that is you, and this joystick, which is kind of like one of those springs in the kitchen, you know, that your cats play with.
It's like a doorstop.
Yeah, and so basically you push the joystick forward to move your light forward, and then you shake it violently to make it kind of attack. And it just kind of like blitzes the surrounding LEDs with a sort of a light, and if there's an enemy in those LEDs, then it gets destroyed. The enemies are like little red dots. We found out later, and actually during the interview, that that was partially the inspiration for Limelight, which was one of our favorite indie games ever, and that those two had talked. Robin and the developers of Limelight had talked, which we thought was really interesting. I did anyway. So that was a lot of fun. Then we had Sententable, which was a 100-button fighting game where there was basically like an arcade setup fighting thing with just like
a table with
buttons in front of you, and then like a one-player, two-player, and then or 49, I guess, and then one-player, two-player.
Yeah, per person.
Yeah, and they were per person, and a joystick, obviously. And
there wasn't a joystick. Was there? No, there wasn't a joystick.
Yeah, there was a joystick.
No, the buttons were movement. There's no joystick on the table.
Was there not?
No, there's no joystick on the table. Because I was talking before you'd shown up, you were doing something else, and I was playing against the dev, and I couldn't figure out how to move forward because like we were just kicking.
One of the buttons, probably.
Yeah, one of the buttons is move forward, but at one point we were just like, okay, we can tap all the buttons. Yeah, which one's move?
So with these buttons, everything that you do on screen is based upon what you press, and that goes not just for the fighting moves, but also for the visual effects, and so
it's randomized every round.
Yeah, so you have this acid trip of a fighting game that is randomized every round, and like me and Keegan were playing, it was like, okay, who can find the fucking Hadouken button first, basically,
spam button.
and then just like spam the shit out of it. But it was really fun. All the way to our friends at Umami, who had this kind of really awesome arcade cabinet they built for a 4-player chef battle game. Which was
my first time using an arcade stick.
Yeah, your first time on an arcade stick. And then the wonderful Sashimi Slammers, which was a game where you literally beat a dead fish to play the game. It was a plastic fish controller, and the guy wanted to use a real dead fish. I can't tell if he was joking or not. I really hope so, but I don't think so.
Can I point out, Mackerel Z, I think, is what he is. Z Mackerel on
Zach
Twitter.
was his name.
Yeah. Can I point out how weird the interview was?
It was my favorite interview of the entire festival. It was one of those moments of like... he was fucking hilarious, but unintentionally.
It was funny because I'm like, how do I respond? In my head, I'm like, how do I respond to him
How do I respond to a guy telling me he wants to use a dead fish as a controller?
I think I did fairly well.
You did all right, considering the circumstances. But he...
Super nice dude, though.
Yeah, super nice guy. So he hollowed out like a rubber fish, and basically it was like bang on this side to move forward, bang on this side to attack. So me and Keegan, in front of a screen, bang, 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 bang on a dead fish to play... He did. A fish fighting game. So that gives you a small idea of some of the more, let's say, unique projects that were available there. And then, of course, there were plenty of tables set up with card games and rows of actual good old-fashioned video games that were either controller or keyboard based. So I thought we could talk about a couple of those. Now, we do have developer interviews for at least 26 or so.
I also want to point out, because I feel like we should, just for transparency's sake, we were also asked to vote for the favorite of the festival, and we were part of choosing the winners. And it was quite. I was honored to have that ability. Like, oh, they trust us. Yeah, and I feel like
they know we played most of the fucking games there as well.
Oh, jeez. We had 2 days to play 50 video games, which sounds fun. And so you're like, oh shit.
It was a good time.
There's a bunch of really cool ones though.
So here's some of the ones that I think were ones to watch. Let's say. My favorite of the entire event, and the one I voted highest for on my
was it Bunny Beats?
Award thing. No, it wasn't actually. Bunny Beats
You're
was
the world
on there,
champion.
but it wasn't. I'm the day 2 champion. Apparently, the day 1 guy beat me.
Oh.
I know.
You gonna let that stand?
Not at all. Not at all, my friend. Don't you worry.
We need to hit up David. Be like, hey, David, can we get this game?
It's happening. He's going to give us a build of it, I think, when it's available. He said you can play with a keyboard. I'm like, fucking, let's do it. I just need a space bar. That's all I need. We're good. But yeah, so the one that I think was my favorite because of A, I thought the art style was really cool. B, the gameplay was
I'm interested because I don't know, actually
really
know.
smart. And C, it was co-op in a way that forces you to be friendly and positive.
Oh, Starcrossed?
Starcrossed, yeah. So Starcrossed...
We sucked at that. The developers wiped us when they started playing.
We have to be friendly and positive. Yeah. So Starcrossed is a game where you had like 2 space ladies, I guess, I can't remember
anime
what we
ladies.
call them. But they...
It's like Pong.
It's a really weird version of Pong.
It's Pong with enemies in between, and then you have the laser that's connected between you two when it goes back and forth, essentially.
Yeah, so you have like a projectile that's going back and forth between your characters, and you have to like, if you can like build up your energy by like hitting it on time, but the projectile hits anything in the center of your screen. So you have like 2 chances to hit things, essentially. Once when it's going to your partner and once when it's coming back, because it follows your positioning. So if you see an enemy down the bottom of the screen and your partner hits it towards you, if you drop really quickly, it'll hit them on the way to you. And it was just this really like basic mechanic that was super smart.
It was the one more try.
Yeah, and then they built it into ultimates and stuff like that, where you had like these ultimate abilities.
They had a bunch of different character styles. I joked that one looked like Tracer.
Great. Yeah, the one did look like Tracer. I thought it was really, really good, and I could definitely see that being super successful on a lot of platforms. I think the Switch was made for that game, to be honest. But
still an issue.
Yeah, sure. So that was one of my favorites of the festival. Bunny Beats obviously was one of my favorites. Bunny Beats is a beautiful game. It's a beautiful sort of old school Japanese art style where you are basically a bunch of bunnies that are making mochi, and you're making it by pounding it with little hammers and carrots and things like that. And the idea about it is that it is a rhythm game, but it's an audio-based rhythm game. So visually, you're not going to get much out of it. It's a lot of like just listening to the pattern and then repeating it as best you can in the right timing. So if anything, the visuals are actually a distraction to how you play the game.
I sucked at that game.
Most of the time, I closed my eyes because it was easier to match the pattern.
And he had it hooked up to a Rock Band drum set. So
he did this time around because we played it twice now. We played it once.
We played it super early
co-op, but this time around it was a lot
let's talk about how much he added to it. That was nuts. There was an interview with David, but it was nuts how much we added to him.
Yeah, I mean he had like from when we played it, it was literally just what I just told you. But since then we have like
create beats,
you
different
can create
levels.
Your own beats. There's loads of different modes. There's like leaderboards. There's different variations of like difficulty and things like that. Really, really awesome game, and kind of just fun, just good old fashioned fun, man. Me and you banging away on the drums, playing. It was a good time. So those are a couple of my favorites. I don't want to go like there's so many really. I know a couple of yours that you're probably going to talk about. So why don't you go ahead?
I had to pull up the list because like I can't remember which one was because there's between like 3 of them.
Yeah.
I think the one I picked for my favorite was Where's Baby. I'm pretty sure that's the one I picked because it was between that and another one. But Where's Baby is a cool concept, and it's funny because it's from Well Bred Rhino, who made Last Stitch Goodnight on PS4.
Yeah,
and this is very different from that game. So basically, the concept of this game is you have a baby or a animal. It's creature baby.
It's like a creature-based baby.
Then you have a babysitter, and the baby has to try and destroy as much as possible. The babysitter's got to clean up as much as possible, and based on the rounds, if the babysitter cleans up, she gets paid, and based on how much damage is done, it gets deducted from her pay, and it's a competitive back and forth.
And this is a split screen experience, so you're both playing each other and like chasing each other around the environment.
I destroyed at that game. I loved it.
Yeah, he was very good at that game. I was not so good, but it was super fun to play.
And they had power-ups that would change things. So like one of the ones that they had for the babysitter that I know you used a lot was like you could teleport the baby.
The iPad?
Yeah.
You throw an iPad on the floor, the baby just like got instantly attracted to it, so they just like teleport them in front of the iPad.
And then as the baby, as the werewolf, the werebaby, you had the ability to bite the babysitter, so they would do damage as well, which was very useful. The bat was able to fly away.
Well, they did, but they were like,
they also had the diaper bomb, like, and I want to say there was like 9 or 10 different power ups. I used the same 3 every time because
it was legitimately a really smart game, super fun, and we can't say enough good things about Mr. Cook. He puts in a lot of heart and soul into his games. I love the fact that he was just so honest about it as well. In the interview, he's just kind of like, the last stitch was like something that he felt like he had to get out. This was his palate cleanser. This was him saying like, what can I do to make the most fun and chaos possible in a game?
It's like, you succeeded.
I nailed it. Yeah. So Where's Baby is a really one to watch as well.
The different environments going on that he said there's going to be more.
Yeah.
You had the mansion. You had the
different modes. You could both be the baby, which we did several times.
Keep the footage back.
Good time.
The other ones I want to talk about is Funk Unplugged was a good one. It's a 3D platformer that harkened back to Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64 days, and I immediately was like, yes, please, give me that. Anything. It was your little amplifier, which is why his name is Funk.
Yep.
And you go around and it's a collectathon. And as dumb as it is, I love those type of games. And the level design was, in a game like that, level design means a lot of exploration. Can I see where I need to go? All the kind of stuff. And it was a lot of fun. I don't think you were there when I was playing it. I think you had gone off to do something. I watched
some of it. I was playing Bunny Beats.
Yeah, it's like you'd gone off to do something.
I had to go and break the record for day 2. Okay, I'll let you in on an inside tip here. Because you framed the camera wrong when you did your interview, you could see me playing Bunny Beats in the background, and then I get up and walk directly into camera. So I was like, at that point, when I get up and start walking towards camera, I like overlaid some gameplay footage so you can't see my fat ass stumbling up to the camera, and then I like ever so subtly like changed it, like yeah.
But yeah, Funk Unplugged was probably one of my favorite games there because it was. It's how I remember a 3D platformer playing back in the day, and we talked about it a little bit on.
It was really,
Nitty, but it was
really
done well.
polished,
and it was funny because like the developer there,
Vamped Games,
they we were joking because he was sitting there next to me when I was jumping through the playthrough and getting to where I need to go. And there's one where like, there's a tower. If you go around, you can get up there. But he's like, everybody fucking jumps up on this way to get up there. I go, it's the quickest way. Like that's how my brain works. The other one I want to talk about is Newt One, Newtone. It's actually what it's based off. It's music based, if you couldn't tell, and it was one of those games that like it's out technically now on PC. You can get it
coming to Xbox
later this year, and I'm super pumped about that. I think he said October was released, if I remember correctly. But the way it works is you again collectathons.
Shout out to Dev and Ari, by the way.
Yes, Dev was the one we interviewed. Dev the Dev.
Yeah, they were awesome. Well, Dev was awesome. We didn't meet Ari, but
yeah, he wasn't there. They're from Minneapolis, Minnesota. But basically, what you do is there are multiple things in the level. So the floor lights up as you touch it, and different things light up as you touch it. So being a collectathon, you want to touch everything.
Touch all the things.
But then as you go along, you had different power ups. So like you had a wand that would highlight a lot of things around you. You had I'm trying to think what the power bounce was. I can't remember what that was, but there was one that would let you jump higher.
There's the wings.
That was it. The wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had different things as you go along. You had different ways, but the cool thing that I told him worked really well is I could see the whole level. So at the end of the level, at one point I was missing one thing, and I turned around to see if I could find it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna find it later.
And they originally were gonna make it an actual like, I don't want to say violent game, but a game where you could attack enemies. But it was a sort of late decision for them to make it completely pacifist. So there's no killing anything. It's purely just trying to touch all the things to make the world come back to the way it's supposed to be, which is really kind of a cute idea. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple of the games. Now, I would recommend that you, after this podcast, take the time to go and view the developer interviews.
Can I do an honorable mention? I won't talk about them, but honorable mention is Battle Cakes, Burn Band, Slug Slasher, and I would say the other one for me would be Umami.
Okay.
Would be my honorable mentions. Do you have any honorable mentions now that I stole all that?
Do I have any honorable mentions?
We scripted this out completely beforehand.
Auteur was a pretty fun VR game. I enjoyed that a lot. Bullet Beat was
Android.
Android game, which I don't have an Android, but I really liked it.
The other one was, I was gonna say Nico, the iOS one.
Nico was really cool. I like that one a lot. Sorry, Path of Modus, obviously. We were big fans of that before. Nor. Always a fun time playing that game. Yeah, there was too many to mention. So basically, go check out our playlist. It has all the developer interviews on there that we got, which is like 26 or so.
They're not all live yet.
They're not all live yet. They will be, but there'll be a bunch of them that are live.
Actually, by the time to see this, it will be all live because the 18th is Saturday.
And also, the other thing that we have all of is the panels. Huge part of Pixelpop is for developers to learn how to progress in their, their field. So there were so many people that I guess learn game development just by like
trial and error,
getting Unity and fucking around with it and whatever else, or Game Maker,
Google and YouTube.
Yeah, Google and YouTube, and like maybe they got a buddy that does some stuff or whatever. Pixelpop is designed to take you a level further. One of the things that I'd like to think that we excel at as a channel is not only shining a light on these types of low-key developers that maybe don't have that marketing knowledge, but also trying to give you that marketing knowledge and trying to say, hey, this is what your game is missing. This is what, when you're looking to push this out, this is what you should be doing. So they're really, really cool at sort of like hosting panels that cater to that aspect. So I'll give you an example of some of the titles of panels that were at the event. Using music in games, legal issues you need to know. Game accessibility, 4 key features. Small communities, big power. Your gaming group can make a difference. Making games across multiple mediums. From passion to business.
What's phase 2? Legal marketing and publishing strategies for your game and development.
Amazing talk, yeah. Building healthy communities through content creation. That was actually had our friend Easily attending, where they're basically talking about how you work with content creators to help your game get seen. Game design workshop. They had even a Matterport tutorial on how to craft an indie horror game in Matterport. And then they had Cute Dogs and Comfort Zones, designing for empathy.
That was with Olivia from
awesome.
To the Rescue.
From Little Rock Games, yeah. Yep. Designing games as if story mattered. Like, so talking about writing in games. So she actually had a full-on section, which I actually had to, I didn't even realize it until I was watching the panel. Because
we didn't watch the panel. We hit record and walked away from the camera.
She had people, right in the middle of the panel for, 10 solid minutes. I had to, cut that. So yeah, that was a really good time. So, there's a lot of actual, interaction that goes into these as well. And aside from some of the actual, learn how to do gamey things ones, some of the other more interesting ones is they had a fireside chat with Leah Guilty Hayes. Guilty is one of the best female Street Fighter players in the world. She's an esports champion. They had Our Princesses in Another Castle, Feminism, Women in the Game Industry, Experimental Aesthetics Micro Talk, Celebrating Unique Games, being a cupcake in a donut world, understanding and combating bias, which I thought was a really good one. So yeah, so they all these panels are there to teach you more about not only what to do after you're making your game or while you're making your game and help you make your game better, but also afterwards, how do you combat bias? How do you build empathy into your game? How do you strategize after the game is ready to go? How do you get in contact with content creators? It's all the shit we talk about all the time. So it's perfect for us. This is our festival. We love it.
It just happens to be local, which is
and it just
better.
so happens to be run by 2 awesome people in our hometown. So yeah, we had a great time at the Pixelpop Festival. We got a ton of content. We lost a couple subs off me accidentally dumping all the panels in one go. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It happens. But we do have some awesome developer interviews going up piece by piece by piece, and there will be, at the time that all of those developer interviews are done, a complete playlist of literally everything that Pixelpop had to offer that you can skim through if you weren't able to make it.
We're here to pull the curtain back behind how this went. So the new camera we have, this was the first major test for this camera. 2, for most, 1, we had no control over audio to a certain extent. We're at the mercy of the system.
Yep.
2, the lighting sucked there.
Yep.
We're at the mercy of the lighting. And 3, we have never recorded anything longer than 1 to 2 videos on a thing. And we had to do it. There's a feature on our camera, which is one of the reasons I wanted to get this camera, was that it lets you jump over. We have 2 64 gigabyte cards in our camera, and it lets us jump over from one card to the next seamlessly. How was the editing? Did you know,
No, it was seamless.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I just copied the audio settings and pasted them in the next one, and there was no difference.
So it's because I didn't edit, you edited all the stuff. But when you jump it from A to B, it just was supposed to be seamless. We never tried it, and we literally at the morning we got there, we had 9:55. We hit record, and when we came back at 7? We hoped to God it was still. We checked in on it throughout the day because it was nerve-wracking. We had stanchions around us.
Actually, dumping the footage was a little scary because it looked like it had chopped it up up into a million pieces, which it had.
But I'd rather have that than to not be there.
Yeah, but stitching it together, like everything was there 100%. So we managed to record 8 hours worth of panels for 2 different days.
All we had to do was plug in and hit record. And
plug it in and hit record and stanchion the
testament to
fucker
it.
off from,
Yes.
from outside
It was
sources.
such a testament to this camera, and it's why we picked the camera for things like this.
Yeah,
So
great first
I'm now excited to use it in the future
believer.
for different things.
I'm a believer.
We also realized we changed the settings on it to be able to make sure we record everything in one go, and the record time on this camera is nuts.
Yeah.
We had 11 hours on
we had 11.
and that was
hours.
1080p, I think, still. I don't think it was 720. I think
Yeah, it was 1080 at 30.
Yeah, versus 1080.
Are we back to 60 by
We
the way?
record 1080 60.
Did you flip it to
We're
60?
in 60. I did.
Awesome.
Because everybody wants those 60 frames
And
of
then
us.
we ran around with our old run and gun combo for.
Yeah, it was funny because we brought up the old camera.
Yeah.
It was like, hold on, we got 10 minutes, guys.
Yeah.
We got to stop, start again.
We had to stop a couple interviews in the middle just because our camera.
Can we talk about Michael from Path to Modus?
Michael Hicks?
Yeah, he was the first interview we did, and the camera kept shutting off.
The
Like,
SD
what is
card was,
happening?
like, corrupted.
And we're like, what's going
we had
on?
To redo that
and then,
like 5 times.
yeah. So shout out to him. He repeated himself.
And he is such a fucking nice guy, man. Like, I don't think I've ever met such a nice, like, even like. Because I had met him, I recognized him from the website because we were looking at the education section of the game, and I was like, "Oh, you're Michael Hicks, right?" And he was like super nice and friendly. And then like as he was leaving, even he was like, "Oh, hey, have a nice time, have a great time, guys. See you later." And I'm just like, "What a nice fucking guy, man!" Like so.
His game's real cool too.
Yeah, Michael Hicks, you're a fucking solid gentleman, man. And
you get Tom stamp.
You don't
approval.
get that compliment often. Let's just say that. But
from
yeah,
you.
Go buy.
He might get that often.
Yeah,
you don't
he might, but not from me.
Not from you.
Go get the Michael Hicks collection on PlayStation right now. Pillar and Path of Modus, amazing games.
And include soundtracks.
Yeah. Which he also made all of because he's a fucking smart guy. So I mean, boiling it down to its core here, Pixelpop is a festival about celebrating unique games and the people that make them. So we had definitely unique games on show, stuff that you would literally never see anywhere else ever. We had a mixture of tabletop games, which were very included in the event, which are hard to demonstrate.
They're hard to cover because they're longer.
It was super hard for us because we can't really sit down and play a tabletop game because we don't have time. We barely have time to do the games that we do that are video games, and we only sit down and play those for 10 or 20 minutes before we have to interview the developer. So for us to sit through an hour or two session of a card game is not
I have
really
to say,
feasible.
the Nico developers said I was one of the fastest to finish the demo.
Oh yeah, you were proud of that
because I'm fucking puzzle games in my jam. I told him
he liked Nico.
Yes.
So we had an awesome time. We met some awesome people. I really enjoyed talking to the Burn Band pair. I thought Harrison and Morgan were really 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 nice. What they're trying to achieve with that game is incredible. I really enjoyed Starcross. Francesca was awesome to talk to. Olivia was awesome to talk to. That girl
that game
knows how to talk to a camera.
Well, that game was really cool because it's a pet management game. Again, there's so many games that we're like we want to talk about, but just go watch the playlist. They're all up there.
Yeah, To the Rescue, a dog adoption management.
And
you
potentially have to put dogs down, and it's
God,
just
that
like,
makes me so sad still.
But it's a reality of what it is. So it was
there was a lot of amazing things on show, and it's only going to get better next year. So if you're anywhere near St. Louis at all,
around the end of
July,
July,
or even you're
early
not,
August,
and you just want to come show your game, you can submit the game for show at pixelpopfestival.com. Is that the website?
Yep.
I'm sure it was that. Or let us know, and we can give the information to Carol and Mary. And I guess the reason why I wanted to talk about it, because I mean it's been on ad nauseum on our channel lately because we've just been uploading it every day, at least 2 videos a day. But the reason why we wanted to reflect on it because it was a really fun moment for us. It's the first event where we've been official, I guess, because we always go guerrilla. We
get press passes when you go to Indie PopCon. They're like, just ask.
But we just walk around grabbing people and asking questions. We've never expected to record as much content as possible. And for 2 guys in 2 days to record 46 videos, I think is a testament to our work ethic.
2 cameras?
With 2 cameras is a testament to our work ethic. And to edit them, they were edited in 2 days as well. They were ready to go in 2 days. We just had to wait for the official site to get their stuff,
get the newsletter and all
up
that
together.
ready.
Yeah, but more so than us patting ourselves on the back, like we rely on a little bit of that. The people that run it, the people that show up, and definitely the customers, consumers, whatever. The people that paid money for a ticket to come and play those games. All of you guys made an amazing time.
One of the things I think you were there when I told Mary and Carol, because they're asking us throughout the weekend like how it's going. I go, honestly, the best part of this is these games don't suck.
Yeah,
because it'd be really bad if there were a lot of extremely boring games.
Yeah,
but like it's true. Like
there was some.
I would say probably
I'm looking forward to a lot of those.
95% of those games I'm going to pick up at some point, assuming I can get a PC to run them. That's the issue I have there.
Will they make their console debut?
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited because I know me and Dev have reached out back and forth for when they come out on Xbox. So I'm excited about that.
And any developers that we did talk to, or even that we didn't talk. By the way, if we didn't talk to you at the festival, we're sorry.
I reached out to a couple of them because Echoes of the Fae, Woodsy Studio, she came up to us and said, hey, if you need interviews. I sent her a message saying, hey, we just didn't have time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we feel bad about it, but again, we're only 2 people, and we tried to get as much as we possibly could. And we're happy to, like, talk to you outside of Pixelpop and just, like, send us the game, and we'll check it out and go from there. So I just wanted to thank everyone involved for making it such a fun time for us, such a fun time for the people that attended, and I really hope we get to do it again next year.
I think we will. I think both Mary and Carol were excited with what we got.
Yeah, we got a sizzle reel coming. That's your job. He didn't do any of the editing, so now it's all on him to make the best, most edited thing ever. As a kind
I'm gonna reach out to Bertrand today. Hey, Bertrand, can I get some music?
Yeah, as a thank you for the festival goers. But so that was Pixelpop 2018 in St. Louis. Please, 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 if you can, try and make it next year. If you didn't get to this year, it is an amazing time. And with that, that's our show. So thank you so much for joining us again this week. We realize we've been away for a little while. We are now back in the basement.
I was like, officially, I'm in yellow.
Officially for our every other week podcasts, and then in the interim, in the time in between the podcast, we will be recording
and reviews and
gameplay, streams, website.
The goal with the website is, as of right now, because again, it's only 2 of us, but we're hopefully going to have people contribute to it, but have stuff up almost every day.
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody who's already shown up. We before we even like launched and really talked about it, we had over 100 people go there, and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Things are good, man. We're happy with the way the channel's going. We're happy with everything that we've achieved this year so far, and just in general so far. And here's to more of it. So thank you for watching, and as always,
welcome to the second level. Bye.
It ain't no game.